It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I saw AC/DC for the first time in 1988, and I went with a buddy named Len. Lenny was a co-worker at a pizza joint with me, and he was covered in tattoos at a time when not too many people were. And he was a skinhead. Now, the group of skinheads that were like peace, love, and hippie, but skinhead, not the white supremacist skinhead guys. There was two different different skinhead factions back in the day in Atlanta, and he was the sweetheart skinhead guy. And he loved AC/DC, but when they played TNT, he was so excited because of the oi part, because skinheads love to go oi, oi, and so he was oi. Oi! And he was losing his mind, and he had just gotten a tattoo on his neck, right there on his neck it looked like a razor blade, like cutting into his neck and dripping blood.
Yikes.
And I said, Len, what the hell is that? He goes, that's just my personal guarantee that I will always work in the food service industry. Which funny. I thought was pretty funny. He's like, I'm just going to be slicing pizzas till the day I die. But as it was a new tattoo, he was putting like Noxzema or something on it constantly, whatever you would put on a new tattoo.
Yeah.
And so my shtick, which I thought was hilarious and no one else laughed, I kept going, instead of oi, I would go, ointment, 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 as he was touching himself up. I always go, hey, Len, how's the ointment, mate, ointment. And it was a time when people used to say, that word makes me, that's gross. I don't like ointment.
I hate
ointment,
that word.
No.
People hate the word ointment.
My least favorite word.
Is it really?
Is it ointment? Really? I mean, was there a bad memory there? Did Mom come in a little too hard and heavy with the ointment?
Well, yeah.
Diaper rash?
I like the visual.
Wow.
No, it just sounds slimy and guttural.
Really?
The older I get,
like
the more
ointment.
ointments I have.
Ointment.
Oh, boy. The older you're going to get, the more ointments you'll need is apparently what I hear, too. So it's good that you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
When I hear ointment, I think of things in like a mechanical sense. Like, I know WD-40 is not technically an ointment, but that's where my brain goes. I think about like the word lubrication to me. I think of oil, like motor oil commercials.
If you love it, lube it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. But so ointments never bother me. But there are a bunch of words that tend to freak people out. What the word? Okay. Squirt. Does the word squirt bug anybody?
I
Used
love
to be my
it.
favorite soda when I was a kid. Remember that bottle, the green bottle, and it was ribbed? And
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Ribbed is another word people can be like, oh, gosh.
You don't like ribbed?
Yeah.
To your pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. Squirt's pretty good. I like any word that you can use, you can have several different uses of it in the same sentence or meanings. Like, hey, come here, squirt. Let me see if I can't squirt some of this on you. I like, that's a good word to, hang on, that's almost like Ross Perot again.
I don't know. It was a little creepy. You want to squirt on a squirt.
Now we have to squirt this economy back into shape.
Make sure you use ointment if you're going to do that.
Let me squirt some of this ointment on you. Man, yeah, that's a good one. How about the one that always comes up people hate is moist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, moist. Well, that's
moist is
back
fine.
to the tattoo. You got to keep put the ointment on the tattoo to keep it moist. You don't want it to, get that hard scab on it.
I think most words that freak people out have it's either the immediate connotation, or for most of these, it's one of two things: bedroom or bathroom. Your brain goes right to either one.
Oh, yeah.
The key to any successful commingling is a solid, moist foundation. And that could mean anything, but you immediately think, one thing. Okay, how about squelch?
Why? I don't get it.
Doesn't come up a lot.
Yeah, no, squelch doesn't, but it's not in that category of moist, secrete,
Oh, secrete. That's that's a bad
Now,
Mint.
it's no secret that I like to secrete things. Slowly and in a perfect world, kind of painfully. Secrete. Yeah, secretion. Ooh, I knew a girl in college. Her name was Lucretia, and so of course she was Secretia. Her name was Lucretia.
Lucretia McEvil.
Yeah. What? Huh?
Seriously? It's a song.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Lucretia McEvil.
I've never heard of it.
Lucretia McEvil.
Maybe I have heard it and didn't know what they were saying.
This will be in Lyrics and Lies today at 8 o'clock.
Wow. This woman's name was Lucretia Lawrence, and so, of course, we called her Secretia Larry. That's just how that's just how she was so happy. Yeah, of course. Yeah. What are you kidding? No, we're not going to back talk. We're not going to talk behind someone's back.
Oh, that's my favorite thing to do.
So secrete and squelch right there on top. Yeah, you boys are going to have to squelch some of these desires you're experiencing now. And I knock them out, and just right there at the tip, tie it off. One of my favorite words to use in a connotation people aren't expecting is flaccid. Because when you say flaccid or when you hear flaccid, there's one use that really you've ever used that you are. Everyone's thought immediately goes to, well, that's if I've ever seen one flaccid penis, that's it. I mean, that's right where you go.
Yeah.
I like to describe bands, or I'll be like, band's kind of flaccid. I don't like the new rhythm section. I just like to throw, or that performance. It's a little flaccid. Because anytime you use the word flaccid about anything other than someone's manhood, you get a response. People, wait, what?
Right. I mean, it takes you right. That's where our mind goes. It's like yeast. We're not talking about bacon bread, are we? Right?
Oh, you know what?
If you say yeast, everybody goes to the
yeast is my ointment. Yeast is my ointment.
Really?
I didn't realize it until you just said it. Yeast. Yeah, the first time I ever understood a different use for that word other than baking bread, I must have seen an image in a biology book or something. But I literally it's like it makes me get a little tense. Yeast.
I'm gonna try and get a bunch of these words in just like a single sentence. I have a chunk of coagulated yeast stuck in my panty crevice.
Coagulated.
Like do not squelch my flaccid attempt at a moist squirt.
Oh, my God. The first time I successfully coagulated was, of course, in the backseat of a Datsun 210. And let me tell you, nothing speaks to the power, to the willpower, and not to mention flexibility of a couple in their teens. Have you seen a Datsun 210 lately?
I know.
Not a lot of space. Let's go back into the old Wayback Machine. Do you remember in the 80s one day, it was basically, I saw it as a national holiday. It was every bit as exciting as 4th of July when Domino's announced 30 minutes or it's free.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
And that was real. And that's before GPS. Let's just go back and think about what that meant. You called on a landline, which no longer exists, oftentimes on a rotary phone, and someone answered it, and they wrote down on a piece of paper what you were going to order. They didn't have a computer in front of them. If they were typing it, it was like you would have heard the typewriter, clack, 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 clack. Steve, large price destroyer, clack, 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 clack. And then they handed that piece of paper to someone who made that pizza and then figured out where you lived and gave a delivery guy instructions to your house, and that bad boy was always there in less than 30 minutes.
Hit the gas.
And it didn't get lost. I remember in South Mini ordering a couple of pies from, can we call them pies if they're Domino's?
Yeah, sure.
That might be an overreach. But anyway, he showed up like 5 minutes late, and I remember going to the door in my room. He's like, make sure you tell him they're free. I'm like, I'm not going to tell him they're free, dude. I mean, he's 5 minutes late. Who cares? Yeah. Close enough. But the delivery driver, probably don't see a lot of this behavior much anymore either. Said, no, I'm late. I already knew.
Oh, yeah.
These are absolutely free. I did give him a $5. I'm like, here, put a little cash in your pocket, man. You still made the run. But, you don't see a bunch of that anymore. But, yeah, they did it the old-fashioned way.
We had several times when the guy would show up at, it'd be 35 to 40 minutes, and he wouldn't even accept. It was just like, here you go. And he would just hand you the pizzas and turn around and go. Yeah. It was a no frills, no questions asked, 30 minutes or less, or it's free. And, I mean, just think about that. You're like, okay, you place the order, you tell them where you live and all that, and then you'd go like, okay, what time does your clock say? Okay, mine says 9:17. Yours says 9:19. Okay, so which 30 minutes? I mean, you could be hammering the details out ahead of time.
3, 2, 1, and then, now,
and then the dude would make it. Or it was incredible.
And they had some controversy though. There was accidents and tickets. I mean, that's why they had to discontinue that.
Yeah, but that was pizza.
But that was years after. I mean, that thing was going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It did get a little. Maybe it got irresponsible. You would though. I mean, this has probably happened to everybody in the city. You get cut off by a Domino's driver. Mm-hmm. I would happen to me all the time. I'd be, oh yeah, I get it, dude. Get that pizza there. Get paid.
I delivered Domino's for 3 days in college. They put it. Yeah, I didn't have a car. They put a Domino's.
Never made it in 30 minutes.
They put a Domino's right off campus. I mean, like it was literally across a 2-lane street from campus. And I went in there. They were hiring, and I said I want to deliver. And they said, "What kind of car do you have?" And I said, "Well, I don't have a car." And the guy goes, "You got to have a car." And I said, "Oh, I thought you were just delivering to campus." And the guy literally said, "Well, if you just want to deliver on campus," I said, "I can do it on a bike." And he goes, "Okay." And he did, and it was great. And it was just exhausting. I was dead. And it was just
3 days,
just a mile across tops, but just going, and then you going into dorms. And you're like, you go to the front desk of a dorm, old school dorm, like, yeah, I'm there's a house phone, but if you can't, then if it's after 10 p.m., you got to go to the front desk and talk to the guy at the front desk, call so-and-so in room 106. And then the stone douchebag comes down and he doesn't have enough money. It was just driving me crazy. That 30 minutes, that didn't apply to me. I was like, dude, you want your food or not? Pay up.
What if you didn't have a bike and just you breaking into a full sprint?
It'd be that's a good scene for a show or a movie, the Domino's guy.
I feel like back in the day, and might be the curmudgeon in me coming out, the old man, but there was a lot more integrity with the food delivery. You didn't have to worry about them messing with your food. You hear about that all the time now.
Yeah.
I'm going to ambush you with this one. A DoorDash driver this time got caught being a chocolate-faced liar. So the lady has ordered some chocolate chip cookies.
My box of cookies, why are they open? It's open. The box is open. Why is it open? You was eating it. You got chocolate on your mouth.
No.
You got chocolate right there on your mouth. You was eating my cookies?
Yeah.
You was eating them. It's open.
Open.
I'm reporting you to DoorDash.
Yeah, there might have been a bit of a language barrier there. He looked pretty stupid, but he had chocolate chip cookies all over his face. It's like, it's all over your face. No, I didn't. It's literally all over your face.
We
had the boxes open.
At the old Gorman household, because there were so damn many of us, we had the spare fridge and freezer in the basement.
Yes.
For just, the bulk, pre-Costco, the bulk purchases that Imelda was working. And my brother and I were down there in the downstairs freezer, and we found blueberries that had just been purchased. And my mom used to make jam, strawberry jam and blueberry stuff. And she had just gotten a ton of blueberries fresh, and they weren't frozen yet. And we were like, oh, man. I mean, who knows? She was probably going to wait 3 months to use them for something. She had a real stringent planner on a shoestring budget. And Doug and I just crush a couple of those containers of blueberries. Like guys coming out of a cave in Thailand after 42 days. We're like, yeah. And then we hear the whistle. That's the Gorman whistle. Bedtime, and we just run upstairs to say goodnight. We walk into the den, and this is a true thing. Every night of my life as a child, every night, time for bed, you walk in, my parents are in the den, and you say goodnight and give them both a kiss. Good night, son.
Yeah.
Good night. I mean, it was like a line. You just had to. You didn't poke your head in and go, I'm going to bed. You walked in, bent over, kiss goodnight, love you. That's it. Every night. Mm-hmm. We walk in, and my parents both look up at us, and we're like, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And my dad goes, hey, you guys, were we downstairs? And we're like, yeah. Because you weren't, you didn't get in your mother's blueberries, did you? And I remember thinking to myself, this bastard is clairvoyant. I don't know how he does it. I swear I don't know how he does it. And Doug and I look at each other, and our faces are both just blue. We both have blue lips, blue nose, blue cheeks. We have so much blueberry juice on our face. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we both had the instant recognition of, oh, oops, should have stopped by the bathroom downstairs to wash off. I just remember thinking, like, how did you know?
Yeah, dad stuff right now. You're just bad criminals. That's a good thing, that you're a bad criminal. No.
Sorry, Mazeppa. We're talking about delivery people and food. Check this out. In a couple months ago in England, police are sitting around doing what policemen do, minding their own business, right? Just doing our thing. And they look up and they see a thief is running down the street, and he's got a full-sized refrigerator strapped to his back. And he's not like a delivery guy. He's a dude who's hustling. And they're like, oh, my God, the guy just lifted someone's refrigerator, and he's getting away on foot. And they track him down, and they're like, oh, what's all this then? You could just see the scene, these two bobbies. And the guy says, no, I'm sorry, I'm training for the London Marathon.
Shut up.
And they're like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, no, I'm training for the London Marathon. I'm trying to break the Guinness World Record for, wait for it, fastest marathon carrying a household appliance.
It exists?
It's a real thing, and this guy is in training for it. The current record last year is a Royal Marine corporal who finished a marathon in 4 hours and 52 minutes with a refrigerator strapped to his back.
See, this is why I would never entertain running a marathon. I'm going to lose to someone that's going to go flying past me with a fridge on their back, you know?
Yeah.
Or there's an old lady that's running it backwards. You know?
It's the first time I ever went skiing, snow skiing, and I was just dying out there. I could, it was one thing to fall down, but then I couldn't even stand up after. Towards the end, I was so tired of just falling and standing and falling and standing. And but the worst part of it, and I was like a senior in high school, so I was still like a kid. I was playing sports, but by the end of the day, I was just dead. And just watching like 6-year-olds just fly past me laughing. It's like, oh, you bastard kids.
Yeah.
You're right. I would never, get yourself into a marathon and you're going to be like, you're going to be 17 miles in and a nun is going to go past you or something.
Right.
Throwing
Just
holy
like
water on you just in her rosary beads in her habit.
Doing her fast walk, too. Not even like breaking her knees kind of thing, I wouldn't run one anyway, but when I think about tackling things like that, you're just the fastest marathon with an appliance. Okay, all right.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
The 5 key elements to emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
Uh-oh.
So, I was going to say, just hearing this list, if you're starting to sweat on the brow a little bit, you might want to, just take a deep breath. It's okay. We're just going to ride through this. But there's, it's kind of funny. We saw the things that, if you want to gauge, if you want to check your own emotional intelligence, there's a few things, if you hear yourself saying, you might want to stop and curb and really look into this. If you hear other people say the following, you can rest assured they're probably not too high on the EQ scale. And I'm going to present this without judgment, because anytime we can take a look in the mirror, anytime we can all say, hey, maybe I'll work on that, I think it's a good thing. Really don't know why I'm walking myself into this corner right now. How about this, okay? If you use any of the following phrases, you may have a low emotional IQ. Number 1, I'm not changing. This is who I am.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear yourself say those things?
Well, I mean, I hear myself saying something like that when someone says, Brian, I don't like who you are. You need to change. Basically, that's what they're saying. I mean, listen, on the EQ rating in relationships, I come in very low. I'm a 1 out of whatever the high score is.
Okay.
Over the years, it's just, and these are the things, it's, a relationship, you have to be willing to change. I'm like, no, I just have to be willing to leave.
Right.
Because I don't want to change.
That's a change.
The way. I'd like to find somebody who just says, you know what, I dig you for all the shitty qualities you have.
Well, you know what, you cut the expression off. You don't have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to change your scenery.
Yes, right. There you go.
But this is a reference. If you're stuck in your ways and you refuse to evolve, that's what this is more about. It's. But to your point, if someone's just got to decide, if somebody decides their life's goal is to change you, that's not healthy either. That's on that person. But generally speaking, if you hit a point in life where you just stop receiving new information, that's kind of, if you just shut her down. Which, by the way, on some levels, we all do. I mean, there's plenty of things where I'm like, I'm not the old man shaking my fist at the clouds, but I feel that occasionally. Just like, I don't care. Shut up. I don't need to know. I'm fine with what I have right now.
Yeah. All right.
But it's one of those things. How about this one? I don't care how you feel.
No, you can't.
That's pretty
cool.
obvious, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, that's one of those things you never say out loud.
Right. Yeah.
Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And let them finish talking and then slowly leave the room. Don't turn your back. Just walk along the wall and get out of there. This is another one. And by the way, I again, no names, but I've heard all of these from people basically one way or the other. It's your fault I feel this way.
Ooh, yeah, I've gotten that a lot.
It's your fault that I'm so upset right now.
Yeah. It's like you brought that on yourself.
There's that
Similar.
one. Yeah, but it's your fault I feel this way. Blaming other people for your feelings, not having ownership of your own mood and feelings day in and day out. That I think that's a really common one. Younger in life, much earlier. And then someone explains it to you like, well, the one thing you can control is your mood and your perspective. And you go, oh, yeah, okay. And then you go, yeah, but I don't want to. I'd rather blame other people. And then eventually you come around to it. That's
Hopefully,
maybe someone's experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another one that always gets me is when someone goes, "No, you're just wrong, man. No, you're just wrong." It's like, no, not really, not necessarily. I mean, I come from it from what. This is usually when you're having a conversation about greatest linebacker ever or greatest bass player ever. Everybo's right. Your opinion is yours. And if that's what you think, that's why music is always so cool, because my favorite band and your favorite band, we're both right. That's the greatest band ever. Really? Okay. Well, I'll tell you why I think this is the greatest band ever, and everybody gets to be right.
Yeah, based on this is how I found myself defending Britney Spears one day. And one of my buddies was like, I hate Britney Spears. I love music. I'm like, wow, then don't listen to it, man. But listen, she sold a gazillion records, which means a lot of people like her music. So thank goodness Britney Spears came to this planet and seemed to elevate some people's entertainment experience, But luckily we have the Allman Brothers.
Exactly.
So we don't have to listen to Britney Spears. But there's no reason to hate her music. It's just not for you. It's not wrong that she's making music. Yeah.
I think we're all going through this. There's a lot of the whole Taylor Swift thing over the last couple of months with Travis Kelce's the exact same thing. I remember 2008 or 9 being asked about Taylor Swift, and I was like, she's not making records for me. I don't care. Like, that's fine. Whatever. And the arguing that she's talentless or whatever, that's a you problem. She's the biggest pop star on the planet and not going away. And so, but again, you can always just turn it off. In fact, you couldn't find. I don't know where to find her on the radio. You know what I mean? I know where to find rock music on the radio. I don't know where to find Taylor Swift.
I think they play a lot of Taylor Swift over there.
Yes.
They're just crushing on the Taylor Swift stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't tuned in a while.
There's always these things you hear people say. I've got a couple that just not so. I don't know if this isn't so much on the emotional cue. This isn't the EQ, but there are things people will say. I'll hear them say, and I immediately. And then I have to catch myself because I have to go, hang on, don't assume too much. But anytime I hear somebody wrap up a conversation with, well, hey, man, that's just how I was raised. That is like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah.
If you're living your life as an adult and you are aligning with the way you were raised and the values of the family you were growing up, but that's fine. But only if you've examined other possible ways of thought and then come back around to, it's weird. I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with my parents on this. That's great.
Yeah.
But the idea that you just blindly, well, that's how I was raised. That makes my head spin. I'm like, I don't know. And thankfully, my parents taught us, like, the day you turn 18, get the hell out of here. Go figure it out for yourself. And I'm really glad they did.
I heard that phrase within this last year from one of my daughters. That's when it's most frustrating.
Ooh, yeah.
They're like, don't blame it on me. Don't. I told you every step of the way that, I'm the negative indicator. Don't blame the parenting crap on me. You have the internet. The internet's your parent. It knows better. Right here, look, if you use these phrases, you may have low emotional intelligence from CNBC. It's all right there on the internet for you. You don't need your parents anymore. They're outdated.
How about this one when I hear someone say this? Well, hey, he was a man of his time. As a justification for some horrible behavior. And I'm like, well, he's still alive. This is his time. If you're still breathing.
Yeah.
And for any issue, you look back in history and go, hey, he was a man of his time. Well, there was another man at that same time who was doing the exact opposite. Always.
He didn't do that.
You focus on the one thing, but it's like, well, I mean, take any issue, take any stance. Like, well, no, there were plenty of people. Not like everybody agreed. There's just more at a certain time than others, but that's just one of those things. It's easier to say, he's a man of his time.
Besides, we love to hate people for what they were back in the day. Don't take that away from us. It's fun to sit here and judge people that are dead.
Well, see, no, I like the nuance. You can absolutely say that things were different. You have to couch things with what was going on, but don't think it's a binary. It's all or nothing. I'm saying you can admire. Nobody's nobody's one thing or the other. We're all just gray, baby. We're all a collage. But I can't stand that it's just this immediate excuse of, he was a man of his time.
That's similar to a phrase that absolutely rubs me the wrong way every time I hear it. You bring up something and someone will say, "No, that was before my time." It doesn't matter. Knowledge
Before
is
my time.
knowledge. You can still be aware.
Yeah, it might help, actually, to know some things that are new.
I hate that.
Let's see. Hey, look, man, I'm just brutally honest when someone's just a douchebag at all times.
That's my line.
Yeah.
Just being brutally honest. I'm just a douchebag, but I dig it. It makes me laugh.
Let's take a quick EQ test, okay? Answer amongst yourselves. Between like 1 to 5, inaccurate, neutral, accurate. I am very good at identifying the emotions I am feeling. Work in progress for me. I'll come right out and say it. My life was spent not acknowledging the feelings I'm feeling, but simply trying to find a solution to everyone else's problems. That, my friends, is known as codependency.
Yeah.
Right here, poster child growing up.
I like to think I'm pretty self-aware, but then that's where it ends. People are like, well, you're self-aware. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm an asshole, but I'm not going to. That's my comfort zone. That's where I like to be. There's something about me that likes to upset people. That's what gets, that's what entertains me, upsetting people, getting a rise out of someone. So I think you can be self-aware of your emotions.
Sure.
And not want to change them.
Nothing wrong with authenticity, and that's an important part of emotional intelligence. I mean, remaining authentic. Candace, you're pretty aware of your own emotions as you feel them, yes?
Oh yeah, I let them all out.
Okay, but
non-public.
Let
Well,
it rip.
sometimes it happens.
well, sometimes we can let emotions out that we're unaware of too. You know,
Right.
you just look back and go,
What are you trying to
"Whoa,
say, Steve?"
Who was that person wearing my clothes yesterday? That was weird. How about this one? I sometimes find it hard to figure out how people around me are feeling, other people's feelings.
Oh yeah, that's me. I'm always trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I feel pretty. I could be a little too aware. Again, let's go right back to the codependency playbook. A little too aware of other people's feelings to the point where I'm thinking about that more than my own.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm doing this right now, but it's a work in progress as per usual. Yeah, interesting. How about this? I have control over my emotions. Oh God, way too much. Just put a lid on it. Cut the damn grass and cry later.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with that one. I feel like I'm kind of a slave to my emotions, you know. I let them. I go in with a plan that this is what I'm gonna. But then, I'm a hothead. So then the emotion takes over. Some emotion creeps in, and I end up responding in a way that I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that sounds like a dude.
how about this? I constantly feel grateful for the life I have. Oh, stop. Come on. If you're walking around just feeling grateful for everything, you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, I could be more grateful.
I'm not like some old school, you got to work to have pride. But, I mean, I'm not some knucklehead about it. But at the same time, no, I'm all for gratitude's wonderful. But at the same time, sometimes, by God, you just got to roll up your sleeves and just do something new and bitch about how it's not happening fast enough. Or, I mean, I need that incentive all the time. I'm constantly like, wait, got to make this better. Let's go. It's interesting. Tony, you're deep in thought over there.
I'm thinking, that's a great equalizer because you can always go, well, it could be worse. And that seems to make it easier to handle situations.
I think that's a very, again, if you don't use that as just a crutch, but if you actually can, identify like, hang on, I've been through worse or this, we got lucky on that one. I think I'm good about that. I definitely notice luck. Both like, opportunity meets preparedness, luck in the grand scheme, but then also just, like literally when you almost have a car accident, I'll think about it for a week. Oh, man, I got no complaints. That was so close.
Right.
Like I take a lot of those, like really close to misfortune, but not. So it doesn't have to be something great. It just isn't horrible. I'll take advantage of that, and that'll fuel me. That'll put some wind in my sails, man. But then again, you can creep into that. I wrote in a book that I wrote that a good day was just one that didn't suck, and that's a trap you can fall into as well. So it's just constant adjustment. I think basically what we're trying to say is be self-aware as much as possible and keep it to yourself. Shut up. We're trying to do radio over here.
Be kind to animals.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? Be kind to animals. That's a good place to start.
Spay and neuter your pets.
Yep. Okay, Drew Carey.
All right, well, we got to get back with Showcase
That's
Showdown.
Bob Barker.
Showcase
See, there's the
Showdown's coming up
generation
soon.
gap
Did?
right there.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah,
You didn't know
I
Bob
don't
Barker
know.
started that? Drew Carey's just a ripoff.
Sure.
He's a
Oh,
you
cheap
stole it.
fake.
Hey!
Yeah.
Wait,
I love
you
Drew
did.
Carey.
You did
You got
not
your Drew
think that.
Carey right here.
You thought that started with Drew Carey?
Yeah, I'm literally 32.
Well, it's before your time.
Oh, that's right. Candace is such a woman of her time.
Isn't
Well,
she, though?
I guess that makes sense, but I still love Drew Carey.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Do what you got to do, Candace. We're just here to serve your needs.
She's
Thank
self-aware
God,
about
I'm
that.
so grateful for my life.
See, there it is. There's the gratitude we're looking for. We've done it. We have completely confirmed that you, Candace, are emotionally intelligent.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
We're talking about concerts. A couple from Maryland was just given a Guinness World Record for most concerts attended in a year, 135. Now, if we're talking major concerts, parking, Ticketmaster, arena pricing, all that is a lot of concerts. But, but I still think there's people who've been to more. I'm not talking about road crew or family members, but, fans. I don't know. I think a lot of people just didn't think to call Guinness Book and say, hey, what's the record? And I bet someone breaks that record this year. Now that it's out there, I bet that will happen. That's just how those things go. We just heard the band Heart, Crazy on You. Heart was my first concert.
Very first.
1978.
Good one. Yeah.
1978, Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky. Walter Egan opened. He had a little number called Magnet and Steel.
Wasn't he
For
also,
you are
I
the
want to
magnet.
kiss you all over?
No, that was Exile.
Oh, you're right.
Exile, who I think they were Exile, fun fact, was from Lexington, Kentucky, where I saw Walter Egan.
Huh.
Maybe that's what had you confused.
Perhaps.
So yeah, I saw Walter Egan, and then I saw Hart, and I was really excited. And the best part about that concert to me was the fact that it wasn't planned. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision. Rolled into town, saw that Hart was playing, and my friend's mom went, do you boys want to go see Hart? And we were like, you might as well have said, do you want a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory?
What a cool mom.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy smokes. And there was three of us, and she gave us $30 and said, go have fun. And tickets were $7.50, which means we had
Wow.
leftover money for a Coke.
My mom took me to see Heart, too.
Really?
Yep, when I was 18, we went to Treasure Island, and then we went bowling after.
Pretty strong.
Wow.
I like it. The KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. We have a couple of callers. We're going to get to you in just a second. But, Tony, there's some text messages first.
We got some good texts. Said my first concert was the Monkees. Went to see it with my babysitter.
Oh, my
Think
God.
that's cool.
That's great.
Best concert ever. Taylor Hawkins tribute in L.A. 6 hours of amazing artists. Only issue they started at 8, and I'm old.
I had the same thought. I was there, too.
Wow. And then Terry Train texted, saw the Eagles this year. Vince Gill's flannel shirt was buttoned wrong. He's one of us. So, Terry.
Right on, Terry.
You got a button off. I like that.
That's great.
Who played when the Monkees played? I mean, did they play their own instruments when they were out on tour, or was it just voice
No,
track
they did.
kind of deal?
They did.
Yeah.
When they were full-on
Must have
touring.
been awful.
They had extra guys. There were other guys up there with them. But no, Mickey could keep a straight beat. That's the main thing. Everyone else can fake it, but the drummer has to be able to play. And Mickey was always able to play. So I'm not saying they were, they'd knock your socks off, but it wasn't as bad as you might think. They were actually all capable musicians. Although when you see Monkees videos, you always see Davy Jones playing bass, and you know that he's not playing that bass. That's not.
His fingers
What do
stay
you
in the same
mean?
spot.
He's
on the
playing
fretboard.
that haircut is what he's playing.
Just
what a doll.
pull up. Yeah, no kidding. And just cherub size too. You just want to put him in your pocket.
Yeah.
No. Look at a Monkees video and look at his hands and tell me you don't have to know how to play bass to know those hands are not matching those notes. That's not happening.
Wow, he was ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time, but put a tambourine in his hand and now you got yourself a stew.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a couple callers that want to share some concert stories with us, Candace. Who is caller? Who do you got for us?
Wade from White Bear Lake.
Wade, good morning, sir.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
All is well. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, I'm originally from Billings, Montana, and I know Zip probably knows the area.
Yes, sir.
And used to party a lot in Bozeman at the Cass Paul and the Molly Brown.
Oh, yeah, the Molly.
Yeah, that goes back, huh?
Yeah, that's a...
But my first rock concert, I was about 13. I saw the Guess Who.
Solid.
That really put me over the edge. I mean, music was it. But my point is that I've seen a lot of concerts in my day. I was like Nazareth and Blackwood and Aerosmith and Heart and all those guys. But when 1981, when I graduated, our prom theme was Paradise Theater, and Styx was coming that year to Billings.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were all excited. We all wanted to go. But the tickets were $18.
Oh,
my God.
At the time, you know, and we were paying $6, $7, or $8 a ticket for other concerts. So we were doing anything we could. We were selling everything just to get tickets for Styx, and we made it. And that was probably the biggest show I've seen at that point. But then over the years, I'm 61 now. I've probably seen as many concerts as my age, or maybe a little bit more. But I can't believe the prices people are paying now.
It's kind of crazy. Wade, don't think about it. Just blink. Best concert. If you could see one concert again, because it's your favorite, which one was it?
God. Well, I said I love Nazareth, but Molly Hatchet was outstanding.
All right. Fair enough.
Rush is probably my best.
All right. Right on. Wade, thanks for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
You got it. I saw Rush once.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I was never a card-carrying Rush fan. I didn't feel like I ever needed to see them again, though. And not in a bad way. I mean, I watched Neil Peart do that drum solo, and I literally just went, there's nothing else I ever need to see from that man. He left the whole thing on the court, as they say. I was blown away. I mean, I was kind of gobsmacked, truly. Like, okay, there's that. You know, it was just one of those like, whoa.
And such an impressive kit. They would just have, he had his own lighting just on that insane kit. Yeah, exactly. Maybe Alex Van Halen, would have had a pretty impressive setup. I would have loved to have seen Peter Criss's Rising drum stage with the Towers of Flame and all of that. But I went with a couple of huge Rush fans, and they were from Canada, and they're just, over-the-top Rush fans. And that tainted the show for me a little bit because they had to look at me and explain every song when it started. Okay, this song, this is in the limelight. So Neil wrote this right after the band got famous. I'm like, shut the up. But but like you, I saw him once. I know people that are gaga over him. And hey, you bring Neil back, and that's a show I'll go to again.
Yeah,
but a damn good show. But
I think Rush is interesting because I'm not into Rush at all. But I've always wanted to see them, and I missed my chance. It's like one of those bands that even if you're not into, you should probably go see or have an interest in seeing.
I didn't see Kiss until I was a dad. The first time I ever saw Kiss, I took my son, who was like 8 or 9. And two things. One, I couldn't believe, at that age, I was like, man, when I was his age, I would have killed to see Kiss. And now I'm seeing them with my kid. There was a ton of parents and children there who were dressed as members of Kiss, like multi-generational. But the other thing that was so funny, because my kids grew up seeing a lot of Black Crowes shows, I took my son to see Kiss, and the next time he was at a Crowes gig, he was like, "Oh, you guys suck. You're so boring.
Really?
There's not fire. There's no fire. There's no blood. There's no heels. Your singer doesn't get on a conveyor belt and ride over the arena. You guys got nothing." I was like, "Yeah, don't take a kid to see Kiss if you're in a jam band."
Sadly, I grew up in, no kidding, growing up in the Kiss Army, sadly, I didn't get to see them by the time I was old enough. They just weren't around South Dakota. Going to a concert was a big deal when you're in the middle of South Dakota.
Sure.
And literally dirt poor farmers. In fact, I traded my first concert tickets. The first concert I ever saw, I traded for my bike. I got into it with this. Daryl, he had the tickets, and he wanted to trade for my bike. I thought he meant my motorcycle, my dirt bike. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. God, that's a lot for the concert tickets. He said something then about my bicycle, and I went, oh, my bicycle? Done. Who needs it? And it was Loverboy and Joan Jett up in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and that one sold me. But Kiss, I didn't see them until they weren't. Remember when they went through that we're taking the makeup off, that awful time in their careers? That was the first time I saw Kiss, but then subsequently went back and saw them with the makeup and the big shows and the zip lines, and they would come down from the clouds, I think. I think they literally came down from the stratosphere on their platform, and that was just a ridiculous show. And then they'd play their 3 chords really loud, and Love Gun Baby, and Suck Me
Kiss
In.
is the luckiest band I've ever seen. And by that, you were talking, Steve, about your little groupies or whatever that you get backstage, or your crew gets backstage.
First of all, no. Not groupies.
Well, super fans.
Fans.
Okay, that irritated me when you were talking about that, because it's so I've had to fight for every backstage experience I've ever had. That doesn't happen anymore.
Let me ask you
That's
this.
supposed to
maybe
fight.
I'm
We're
just
supposed to
weird.
love.
Hold on. What is it you're hoping to accomplish backstage? Let's start there.
Okay.
The girl who throws the word groupie around.
I just love to get backstage, right? I
Why?
love Kiss. Okay, so I tried, and I just used to always try, no matter what the concert was. Just the thrill. I don't know. Anyway, but I've gotten backstage a couple times with Kiss and gotten to meet the guys. I met Sophie Simmons, and yeah, I don't know. They're cool about their fans. If you just put some paint on your face, they'll let you backstage.
Oh my gosh. What in the world? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just saying, it's not as easy as it used to be.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
The people would always, it was the big thing to get backstage. We used to have the craziest radio contest to get backstage. And the entire time I'm thinking, it's not. I thought boring as hell. I just quit going. You want to go backstage? No. Yeah, trust me, you don't want to meet them. Just watch them. They're at their very best on stage. But I was never, a young starstruck lady that had other opportunities backstage. Nobody really wanted to see me back there. Steven Tyler called me an asshole.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, because I wouldn't pour out my beer because they were on the wagon, and Joe Perry was holding a Heineken. I'm like, I'm pretty sure frickin' Heineken doesn't make a non-alcoholic beer, but whatever.
Let me tell you, they were on the wagon for real in 1990 because we were not allowed to have beer in the arena. We couldn't even have it in our dressing room.
Yeah, they were.
Kidding.
Yeah, they were. It was hardcore
forget
sobriety.
it.
Tell that to Joe.
Well, he was sober then. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now. I'm just saying there was no ifs, ands, or buts, man. We were like, really? That's a weird one. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yes. Todd from Becker.
Todd, good morning, brother.
Guys,
What do you got for us?
well, my first concert was ELO at Assembly Hall in Indiana University.
Oh,
All the
strong.
Notes were opening for them.
Who was opening?
All the Notes.
Oh,
Wow. What year was this?
Had to be 82.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
83.
That's a
the
good
hit
one.
machines, man.
Yeah.
There's like 50 songs you can sing along with.
Oh, it was crazy. But Assembly Hall, there's a balcony that goes down. We were under the balcony up to the top, and right behind us was the cold air return, sucking all of the smoke and fumes
Yeah.
out of the arena, right past us.
Oh,
And
strong.
we got a tremendous second-hand high out of that concert.
Please tell me the General Bobby Knight was on the side of the stage, smoke hitting a bong with all the kids.
I did not see Coach Knight there that day, but I've run into that guy a few times. He's tremendous.
By the way, you can tell he's a real Hoosier when he still says Coach Knight. That's strong right there. Those are some
Hey.
pretty mad. My kid goes to IU right now, and he's like, "So this team used to be good?" I'm like, "Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Assembly Hall ain't what it used to be, man. That's for sure." Hey, listen, we got to hop, Todd, but
yeah.
that's awesome. Thanks for the story.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
The cicadas are coming soon to
The
a
cicadas are coming.
good bit of the Midwest. There's two broods of cicadas. They emerge together every 221 years. That year is this year, and it is happening next month. If you're not familiar with cicadas, they're just a large, completely harmless bug that makes a whole lot of noise when it pops up every 13 or 17 years or so. Long story short, there's a little part of Illinois where the two different broods actually overlap. They're going to get both types of cicadas. There are going to be, in North America alone, 1 trillion cicadas. 1 trillion. I'm reading this like, wait, this can't be true.
Right.
But no, they're saying 1 trillion. And per acre, in a lot of the places where the cicadas are coming, there will be more than 1 million cicadas per acre. 1 million per acre. If you just think of what an acre, like someone someone who's got a yard that's an acre big. It's a great sized yard,
Sure.
but for 1 million of anything, that's not very big.
That's a carpet of cicadas.
Yeah, basically. And so it's going to be interesting. They go up to a single cicada has been measured at making noise at 100 decibels. So suffice to say, if the cicada horde is anywhere near you in April and May, you will be hearing about them. They're big, and I've experienced 2 cicada breakouts in my life. I've had them in my hair. I've had them on my arms. They land on you. They're completely harmless. They look at you, and they're just as freaked out by us as we are by them. But I don't know of any stories of anybody like eating cicadas, although apparently they're chock full of nutrients.
They're nutritious. When Steve told me about these cicadas this morning, at first I was like, ick, like look at their freaky eyes, and then they shed their skin.
But then you put on your lab coat.
They're pretty awesome. I've been doing a lot of reading about these bad boys.
Would you chomp one down?
Shrimp down there. By the way, if you have a shellfish allergy, did you read this? Because earlier this morning we talked about southern shrimp that many years ago, not so much probably. Well, actually, they probably still do, but people consider them a bit of a delicacy. They taste like shrimp. It turns out the cicada is in the shellfish family. If you're allergic to shellfish, you can't eat cicadas.
Whoa.
Okay, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Like now I'm picturing shrimp living in living underneath a tree for 17 years.
Yeah.
And then finally waking up and going, "Hey, let's go get some fresh air."
Right. And straight. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, but I've often thought, because again, I've been through 2 of these. They're huge, but we've all been at least once in our life somewhere in a car, open window, maybe on a bike, Zep, maybe on a bicycle as a kid. You swallow a bug. A fly goes right in or something, and that feeling is like, and you're like, I can't believe this just happened. A gentleman woke up a few weeks ago, 53-year-old man in Vietnam woke up with great throat discomfort, and then his voice, as he was trying to explain how he felt, was hoarse. And he was like, wait a minute, man. My throat hurts and I'm losing my voice. I've got laryngitis. I don't understand what the point is. He started, and then at some point shortly thereafter, he started noticing in his saliva a little bit of blood. So that's scary. If I wake up and I have a sore throat, I think, I drank last night. I slept with my mouth open. My throat's sore. That happens. Or I think maybe I got a little cold. That happens. But if I wake up and my throat's sore and I'm hoarse and I have a little blood coming out when I spit, I'm going straight to the clinic. I'm like, we got a problem. He did the same thing. Looked in the mirror and saw what looked to be a brown mass in the upper part of his throat. Like back there, he could see something that's not normally there, and he thought, I panicked, and which anybody would. He goes to his
ciggies, man.
He goes to the clinic, and the doctor takes a look and goes in there and goes, no, okay, nothing. Let me take care of this. Let me get that leech out of your throat.
Oh,
they grab some tweezers.
A leech.
No, nothing gets to the back of my throat without my permission or me knowing about it. Like you said, flying down the road, mayfly season in northern Minnesota on a motorcycle is a special time. You want to really purse those lips. But a leech doesn't just...
Yeah.
I mean, when that goes in your mouth, it just doesn't accidentally end up in your mouth. It was swimming or whatever, you got a leech in the back of your freaking throat.
They're sneaky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I have seen...
Sneaky leech.
I have seen a friend walk out of knee-deep water and have leeches on his calves. And that is a sight you don't forget.
No.
Because I immediately go right back. That seems like a medieval situation, and I was surprised as a kid to learn that leeches are still around.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I used to hate going tubing when I was younger and camp and stuff, because I'd get out of the tube and there'd be 100 in my butt. Like
in the butt.
In my butt.
Well, but that's because tubing's one thing. Tubing at Old Leech Creek is a whole different thing.
And which drunk friend got the leech removal?
Hold on, you're telling me, Candace, you literally I'm going to ignore the in the butt part, but you went tubing and got leeches.
Oh yeah, there's lots of leeches.
Oh yeah.
Minnesota rivers and lakes and stuff.
Not in these clean, beautiful lakes up here. What
I
are
had
you
a
telling
camp
me,
counselor
woman?
who would eat them.
What the
He'd
heck?
get the
Eat the
leeches,
leeches?
I'd like and fry them up.
Come on.
Not kidding.
Oh man! So it's cicada season coming. Leeches. What else we got? A little swimmer's itch. Look out for the swimmer's itch
Oh, I
here
got
in
swimmer's
Minnesota
itch
now.
when I was a kid too.
Okay, please educate me. What the hell
I
are
don't
y'all
know,
talking about?
You just go and you come out itchy.
Yeah, like some little parasite and some little, microscopic bug in the water. There'll be signs, I remember heading down to the water to jump on the jet ski, and I'm like, wait, what's that? Oh, that's beware of a swimmer's itch. Yeah, I know. What is that? Well, there's things in the water. I'm like, okay, so now carefully get on the jet ski. Don't be too crazy that you go in. I don't want swimmer's itch. I don't want it.
Okay, hang on a second. I grew up a guy who thought that you came here to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. You're telling me
Topless.
that if I go into Lake Minnetonka, there's a chance I might get swimmer's itch or leeches.
Yeah.
That is not a part of the movie. There is not one moment where Prince Rogers Nelson looks in the camera and says, "But watch out for the leeches, Apollonia." That didn't happen. I'm freaking out right now.
No, 99% of the time you're going to be just fine at any lake around the metro. But I think the leeches tend to hang out in those swampy or wetland areas and some of the rivers.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think you're going to be fine for the most part. But yeah, there's little microscopic parasites. It's a freaking lake, It's not a pool. There's stuff in there.
All right, I guess that checks out. I can live with it as long 99%. I'm good with those odds. The way you guys were talking, I was just thinking like, wait, this is a real thing I got to deal with now. Come on.
I'll tell you what. Anyone that's lived in the southeast or out west or perhaps in a different country below the equator has some stories about some crazy ass stuff out there. Minnesota, fairly tame by comparison, but yeah, we've got a few things. Leech and tick check. You come out of the woods, you come out of the lake, you just want to. It can be fun.
Ticks I'm good with. I've experienced. I've been in tick. The land of the tick my whole life, so that's nothing new. It's the 100 leeches in my butt that I'm not gonna be able to. That's what I'll be thinking about tonight when I'm trying to sleep.
My
Leechy
butt?
You're the one who said it.
With leeches all over it.
Yeah, I don't like ticks though. Ticks are gross. Their little legs and they get on my goats. But my birthday is coming up, so I'm wondering if any of you guys are gonna get me one of those tick mitts.
We could do that.
Don't ruin the surprise now.
I want one for self-massage purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Get it monogrammed with your initials. It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, something nice. What color would you like?
Yeah, pink.
Pink, of course.
Yeah.
Pink tick mitt coming up, monogrammed.
Boom.
Got
we
it.
Got that. We got it. Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you for letting us know. It's important. Sometimes women have to remember. You have to tell us very directly because we ain't gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah, no. It happened recently. My daughter said, "Leech in the butt."
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
We all of us are dog owners. I mean, well, Zep, you're a dog granddad, I guess, technically speaking.
Yeah, right.
The rest of us, but we've all had dogs most of our whole lives, and I can look back on my life. I think I'm 9 dogs old now. In the grand scheme of things. Chauncey, I talk about him a lot. He's in the studio a lot. He's just a goof. If you had to say, well, what kind of dog is he? That's what I'd say. He's just a knucklehead. I don't know. He's funny. He's got some weird snot issues, but apparently researchers at the University of East London, which is, that's where the Cockney accent comes from. So I just picture a bunch of professors like, oh, this hurricane's hardly ever happened, isn't it? I just think about these horrible Cockney accents all over East London. But they've been studying dogs. They used an AI algorithm to go through 70,000 behavioral records of dogs. They have these lengthy records of how dogs behave, 70,000 of them, and then they're looking for common threads running through the breeds. And they found that all dogs can be classified into 5 groups, 5 personality types for all dogs.
All right.
Fascinating. Number 1 is this is one of the personality types: excitable / hyper attached. Excitable hyper attached.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like every dog to me.
Kinda?
But it's one of the personality types. All right, so they would favor this personality type more than any other. Yeah, that sounds like a dog.
Yeah,
So, like
exactly.
super needy. Is that
So,
what that is?
I just I don't know if it's needy as much as it's just like, where are you going? I'll go with you. What are you doing? Can I watch? Can I be there? And I, Chauncey's excitable and he's pretty attached. I mean, he doesn't like he's not the dog who that often. The only time he likes to be alone is when he's ready to go to sleep. I mean, he'll just literally, it's like 7:30 p.m. He'll just look at us like, what are you guys doing? I'm going up. Later, he'll lead the charge. Another type of dog, anxious/fearful. I've never had a dog like that, but I've certainly been around dogs that I would say they're just anxiety prone.
I don't know. It was just a mutt, and it was a buddy of mine, and it became awkward because then when he left town, I'd have to come up with a lie, surprise me. Hey, dude, I'm leaving town for the weekend. Oh, is it this weekend? Oh, because I have to drive to South Dakota and do surgery on my mother. Otherwise, I'd watch your dog for you. And the reason is this dog was so nervous and so jumpy. It was a rescue dog, so imagine its past had something to do with that. Or maybe it was just the personality type. But you'd be like, oh, no. Don't get up on that. And he would just start peeing all over everything. You'd be like, no, oh my God. No. And I mean, anytime you addressed the dog, talked to the dog, made eye contact with the dog, it would just start pissing like a water sprinkler out in the yard. One of those wacky water sprinklers. And that was a nervous dog.
I did actually have a nervous dog briefly. I rescued a dog years and years ago. Found a guy. He was gray with black spots, and he was just no leash. I'd seen him in the neighborhood for a few days, and I finally got him in. And he was very anxious, very nervous, but also very hungry, and was grateful. Like, once I gave him some food, he kind of trusted me. I gave him a bath. Turned out he wasn't gray. He was actually white with black spots. He was so filthy. The bathtub had that ring. I just couldn't get rid of it. It was like he literally ruined this rental. Thankfully it was just a rental apartment. But I named him Mort. I was just like, hey, he looks like a Mort. Yeah. And I could not get him to settle down. In my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to keep him. He's going to be my guy. And then he did not get hit by a car. He hit a car. He ran into the side of a moving car. Once when I dropped the leash accidentally, and I was like, wait, I can't. I don't think I have what it takes to whatever this dog needs. I'm not the guy to provide it. I'm just a dude in a local band making pizzas late at night. I probably shouldn't have a dog right now.
We had a lab that was, nose to the ground. One of those were like, oh, he's going to be a good hunter. This lab's going to be a good hunter. But this lab had this thing where it did not look up. And it would run into it, just be running along in the field. All of a sudden, it just hit a stump, just headbutt a stump.
Really?
And then it'd yelp and whatever, and then get back on the trail. We've watched him run into the sides of cars and everything else. I'm like, dude, eyes up. He was so into the scent, I guess, that he just couldn't. Yeah, you got to have both. You got to have the nose and the eyeballs, it turns out. So it turned out to be a great house dog. Wonderful. Love the cuddle.
We had a Springer Spaniel, Rusty, the main dog of my child, like third grade till I was in, like 18 or 19.
Oh, the boyhood dog. Yeah,
he was the dog, Rusty, Springer Spaniel, and a very large Springer. He was like 55, 60 pounds, way bigger than the average one. And when he was young, we would bring him up. We would just, this is back in the day when the 70s were awesome. Mom, in the summer, I'm going to the pool. Okay. And then he would just tag along. No leash, just a collar. And then we would walk into the pool, which is behind a fence. And then he would just chill, hang out, wait for us, or just walk back home, or just go out and, he'd disappear for hours at a time. We never knew, but he'd always make his way back home. But one day he got into the pool area, like the big, the little swimming pools, got the big chain link fence all the way around it. He got inside the fence, and then a bird flew over, and he started chasing the bird, as he was wont to do. And he was staring up, and he's chasing this bird in flight, thinking maybe I'll catch it. I don't know what he was thinking, but didn't notice that there was a large pool right in his way. And he running full stride, and suddenly he's airborne, and the look of confusion on his face as the ground disappeared, because he was staring up at this bird. And he just hit the middle of that pool, and the lifeguard Good old Ronnie Staines. Gorman! Like he knew exactly whose dog it was.
Yeah.
And there was me and my brother got in trouble for that one. We're like, we didn't let him in. Someone else left the gate open. And yeah, it was a whole scene.
He's a Springer Spaniel, for crying out loud. He's hardwired to chase birds.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know why. He's thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do when I catch this thing, but I must chase it.
Yep.
And yeah, right into the pool. Well, there you go. You got a free dog wash.
Another dog personality, aloof/predatory.
What? They seem to work against each other.
Aloof predatory, I guess. Right. Yeah, that's a little weird one to me. When I think of an aloof dog, I think about like what do you call it? Weimaraners. When you see one of those, they're just, or like a Rhodesian Ridgeback. There are certain dogs that all they care about is their owner, and they don't even notice other humans existing. You're like, oh man, he's beautiful. Can I pet him? And the dog's just like, I don't even see you. You're a hologram.
Yeah. My aunt and uncle had a Weimaraner named Shadow, and they would go into a restaurant, and they'd leave him in the car, and when he had to go pee-pee, he would honk the horn.
Oh, really?
Really bright pup.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, very cool.
Did he? I mean, was he also good in the kitchen? Could he make an omelet? My God, that's
he was
amazing.
very skilled. Yes.
How do you teach a dog to honk a horn to get out to pee?
Yeah,
I just love that you're in the restaurant and like, honey, you're going to get that. And he's out there laying on the horn. All right, I got
that's
it.
really
People are looking
good.
around like, what in the hell? You'd think it was their kid. I think they're going out to let their kid pee.
Wow.
Honking the horn in the... That's crazy. I love that.
It is time to beat the toaster. Candace, who is contestant numero uno?
All right. We have David from Minneapolis.
David, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Are you ready to beat the toaster, my friend?
I am ready.
I like that gumption.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, fella. Tony's going to take it from here.
All right, David, let's bring it. Your first one. Throughout history, name some popular haircuts or hairstyles. Go.
Bowl cut, pompadour, crew cut, beetle haircut, blondie haircut, Twiggy.
First of all, one kept getting better than the next.
Yes.
Pompadour. We started with the bowl cut, then the pompadour.
Yeah.
I want to rock a pompadour. I like that. What was the Twiggy cut again?
There's
A very skimpy bikini.
Kind of a bob, wasn't it?
Yeah, the bowl, the pompadour, the crew cut, the beetle, the blondie. What's the blondie?
The blondie. What's that?
Is it, are you talking Debbie Harry or is
Yeah,
there?
sure.
Or
That's
is
what
it
I was thinking,
Dagwood's
too.
wife. What?
Dagwood.
Either one.
Oh. So I got 6.
I
Is
got
that-
6.
Yeah. All right, David. Strong effort, my friend. I was looking for beehive myself, but that's all right.
a nice one.
You got 6. That's a strong start.
Mullet, baby.
Ooh, the mullet, of course. The
Mohawk.
Kentucky waterfall, close to my heart.
Shag.
Oh, we could go all day on these. What are you kidding? David, sit tight for a minute. We're going to go to contestant number 2 for their round 1 effort. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Kathy from Forest Lake.
Kathy from Forest Lake. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
Are you ready to beat the toaster?
I hope so.
I appreciate that self-awareness. Let's go. Tony, take it away.
All right, Kath, you're in a Zoom meeting, an online meeting of some sort. Give some excuses you have for why you're not wearing any pants. Go.
I just woke up. I just got out of the bathroom. I just got out of the shower. I like to be naked. I'm having sex.
We got to get Kathy on a Zoom call stat.
How about that?
Wow.
She's thought about this before.
Strong effort. Just woke up, out of the bathroom, out of the shower. You just simply like to be naked. You're having sex. That's a strong 5 right there, Kathy. Well played. You got all of our attention. Very well done. But round 2 is when the pressure really starts to cook. So hang on for a minute, Kathy. We'll get back to you momentarily. But David, you are now up for round 2. Are you ready, sir?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. David, my man, during a fight, name some things that you can throw at someone that won't cause significant bodily harm. Go.
A tomato, an egg, a head of lettuce, some M&Ms, an ice cube, an empty bucket.
I get the impression David's just looking around the room he's in at stuff.
Right.
Tomato, egg, a head of lettuce. That's also what if you're heckling a performer you don't like. Those three.
Or making a sandwich.
M&M's, ice cube, empty bucket. 6 again. All of those make sense. David, that's 12 in 2 rounds. Strong performance, brother. Well played. All right.
An empty bucket might be a little painful, but,
but again, not significant.
Not significant.
Although, can you imagine what would bring a fight to an end quicker than someone whipping an M&M at you? You just have to stop right there, wouldn't you? I mean, what fight?
That's
an M&M at me.
Yeah, no, that's crossing the Rubicon right there. There's no coming back from that one, especially if it's a peanut M&M. All right, Kathy from Forest Lake, it's time for round 2. We wish you the best of luck.
Kath?
I got my boxing gloves on.
There you go. Watch out, David.
Start swinging. Okay, the Emmy Awards were just held. If you could create TV shows based on your life experiences, what would some of the titles be? Go.
Health, shame, sex, Sex in the City, oh my God. Oh no.
Can we?
No,
Can we use
in
"Oh
there.
my God" and "Oh no"?
I froze.
No.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh no, and I blew it. All perfectly applicable.
Yes, I blew it.
No, we're
her
giving
7
you.
she needed though.
Yeah, we're giving you 6, and that's 1 shy. Kathy, you came up with 11 in 2 rounds, and my gosh, I've never enjoyed anybody getting 11 out of 12 more.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
This guy in Wisconsin who made the news a few years ago for eating Big Macs every day is still going.
What?
Her buddy.
This is Don Gorski.
Yeah.
50 years of hitting Big Macs every day. Now he is claiming even more. He's extended his record-holding status he reached with the Guinness Book back in 1999. 1999, he had 34,128 Big Macs, all of which he kept the receipts for. So we're talking about a crazy person. The retired prison guard enjoyed his first Big Mac on May 17, 1972.
Yeah.
And then he just kept going and kept going and kept going. At one point, he was eating 9 Big Macs a day.
Yeah. Yeah, he would take them home and even freeze them.
Yeah.
Don Gorski, right over here in Wisconsin. Here he is talking about his first Big Mac, and this goes back to the Super Size Me. You remember the Super Size Me? I'm forgetting the documentarian was, but...
As soon as I got my first car, this is the first place I came to. I bought 3 Big Macs, ate them out there, enjoyed them so much, and I came back about 5 o'clock at night, bought 3 more, ate them out there, came back around 11 o'clock before they closed and ate 3 more. So the first day I came here, I ate 9 Big Macs, and it was like I couldn't get enough hamburger at that time, and Big Macs are so good. So I ate 265 in the first month.
Now, the part of that interview that we didn't play is where he said that up until that point, he had survived on a diet of dirt and grass and more dirt. What world is? I mean, but that is like that's the opposite of an analogy. That's like there's an addiction. There's something in that.
Yeah.
I mean that because
that's special sauce.
Yeah, there's got to be, right? I mean, that's just completely. That's just wild, man.
Morgan Spurlock was the filmmaker.
That's right. Morgan Spurlock. That's right. That's I mean, that's my go-to, the Big Mac. I mean, as far as fast food goes, if I had, all right, that's it, Armageddon, you get one fast food item before the mushroom cloud hits. I'm going for the Big Mac unless I'm driving and eating, which of course you shouldn't do, and I never do anymore. Then I go with something, much less messy, or just some cheeseburgers or something. But I love me a Big Mac. But yeah, well, how many now is he up to? Over 30-some thousand?
No, he was at 34,000 in 1999.
All right.
Or no. I'm sorry. It's weirdly written. He's at 34,000 now, but he's held the record since 99. I apologize. I'd hate to overstate how many Big Macs this guy has eaten. At this point, just say it's 1 million. What's the damn difference? He says, by the way, also, he walks 6 miles a day to stay in shape. Okay, again, 6 miles uphill with like a 50-pound weighted vest. What on earth keeps you in shape if you're eating that many Big Macs a day?
What if he can detect the subtleties every time, like every day? Is like, well, today was a little more. There was more spice to it.
The special sauce.
Yeah.
I think he actually added about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I prefer.
Yeah.
Man,
I've
that's
asked him.
incredible.
You know the Big Mac, by the way, not a particularly large man either. I mean, he's as fit as any one of us, which isn't saying much. But this guy, I asked him how the Big Mac has changed over the years. I said, it can't be the same Big Mac you had back in, 1972?
Yeah.
He said he had his first one, and he says it has changed. The burgers have gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Sad to report. Yeah. Just get more of a burger in there.
I know I was younger as a child, but I also know for sure a Big Mac used to be huge. It was like they were closer to like the width of a Whopper. You know what I mean? Because there's always that thing where like the Whopper's way bigger. Is it really? But it's one patty, not two. And then we would discuss, you know, there was the Pizza Cords, Carter, Bacon, and Sadat, and then Whopper, Burger, you know, Big Mac. These are all the things we were discussing at the time. But the Big Mac used to be bigger because I remember after years of not having had one, opening one up and going like, what in the world happened to this thing? But as Don's getting older, he is cutting back. Again, only 2 a day now is the average.
Only 2 a day. I mean, they don't even. He must walk into his local McDonald's there in Fond du Lac, and they've got the bag already. It's Norm. He gets a Big Don in there.
563 calories in a Big Mac. That's what the Google machine tells me.
That's all?
563 in the sandwich itself. And so this man at one time was eating 10, 12 a day. Oh, 40s. But I guess if that's all if he's down to 2 a day, then yeah, that's not a lot. I mean, if that's all he's eating, he didn't say anything about mixing it up with some Popeye's fried chicken or anything.
Man.
All right,
That's special sauce in his veins. Don Gorski.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Her name is Bernadette Higgins. She has a new show that hits Netflix today called American Nightmare. Did a woman, in fact, fake her own kidnapping? Bernadette, good morning.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm excited about American Nightmare, but I have to look back and first let our audience know you are responsible for an obsession of mine and my wife's from last year called The Tinder Swindler on Netflix.
That's right, yeah, I was one of the filmmakers on that.
We took that ride on that one, boy, and I don't remember a show where I felt more things for the people, the victims. At times I felt embarrassed for them. At times I was mad at them for not seeing this, and then my heart was ultimately broken for all of them. I have to imagine that was your experience getting to know these people as well.
Yeah, it's always a roller coaster of emotions getting to know people, especially when you obviously know what way the story goes and how it's going to end. So, you know, particularly with the Tinder Swindler, it was, you know, we knew what was happening as we were reading these WhatsApp messages, but of course we had the benefit of hindsight, whereas those girls didn't, so they were wrapped up in the manipulation at the time.
Could you have imagined what a reaction there was to that? The Tinder Swindler became the most watched documentary on Netflix, and I have to think that was a bit of a whirlwind too. There's no way to prepare yourself to be suddenly sitting on top of the biggest show on the world.
It was certainly unexpected, but obviously we were thrilled.
Right.
Everyone involved in the making of the film was absolutely delighted that it seemed to capture the nation and the globe's interest the way that it did. So, no, it was totally unforeseen, but certainly very appreciated.
Fantastic. Bernadette Higgins has a new show. It debuts tonight on Netflix today, January 17th, American Nightmare. Okay, we got information for it. We haven't seen it, of course. After a home invasion and abduction, a young couple's recounting of the events is too far-fetched for the police to even believe. How in the world do you find these kinds of stories? Because this sounds like, I first think of the movie Gone Girl, but this is a real story, a real thing. Do you have people contacting you to say, oh, you did Tinder Swindler? Wait till you hear this one.
Yes and No, it was made by the production company, the same production company that made The Tinder Swindler. So we were very lucky in that we already had a great relationship with them, and it just so happened that they got the access to the key people at the centre of the story just after the release of The Tinder Swindler, when Felicity Morris, my co-director, and I were looking for our next project. So it was really grateful for us that all of the timing worked out and we got presented with this new story and invited to direct it. And as soon as we started looking into it, we were just blown away and bit their hands off, basically. So yeah, we'll definitely take this on.
Okay, well, if you're blown away,
It's a phenomenal story.
If you're blown away and you think it's a phenomenal story, it's safe to say everybody will agree with that. The show American Nightmare hits Netflix today, January 17th. I can tell you, it's my wife's birthday, and she's a true crime aficionado. This is like a birthday gift, perfectly wrapped for her. So thank you for that. Bernadette, I'm pretty good with accents. I can tell you're from West Texas, right?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Slightly further north. And I'm from Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Okay, fair enough. I've been to Belfast several times. That's it. Nowhere else in Northern Ireland, but always a very lovely time up there. A beautiful city and a beautiful part of the world. So, did you have any experiences? If you are, you know, when you went into filmmaking, as you were looking at a career a little younger, did you have a crime interest already? Was this the sort of thing, Tinder Swindler, and now a story like this? Was this a natural interest, or did you find yourself you just got handed a few projects and then found you have a good sense of how to present these stories? I mean, what is the path that led you to sitting on these incredible stories?
I think we all have an interest in crime, don't we? Because we've all kind of tapped into all of our fears.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly American Nightmare, and that's, you know, the reason why we chose the title is because it does tap into so many of the general public's, you know, biggest fears about what could happen to them at the hands of perpetrators and how anyone can be victimized at any time. So, you know, without wanting to terrify the viewers, we thought that was an interesting way to look at this because it deals with so many of those kind of crime-ridden issues. And so certainly, you know, certainly from a young age I was interested in crime, and it did increase as I got older. But there's many different ways of telling crime stories, and, you know, Felicity and I, we really like to focus on the victims. So when we can get access to the victims and hear everything from their perspective rather than the perpetrators, that's of particular interest to us because we think that those people are much more relatable generally than the people who commit the crimes.
Sure.
So yeah, I've always had an interest in crimes, but particularly an interest in giving a voice to victims.
American Nightmare on Netflix as of today. A true crime story that, in Bernadette's own world's a phenomenal story. I will be watching later today, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners will. Growing up in Northern Ireland, what kind of music were you into as a kid? What was the first concert you ever saw?
Oh gosh, the first concert I ever went to was actually Take That.
Take That?
Not at all, but they were playing in Belfast and they were huge at the time. So that was the first concert I ever went to.
All right. Well,
and you were probably hoping I was going to say U2 or the Dubliners, but I'm sorry to disappoint.
No, not at all. Just the lift in your voice at the memory is worth its weight in gold. Look at that. That was an exciting night for a young Bernadette Higgins. Take That.
Yes,
wow.
It was a big night.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they had quite the ride over here as they did in the UK and in Europe. But I know of Take That. I'm fairly familiar with the music.
Yeah.
Bernadette, do you have? I noticed on your Instagram page you actually say, "Email me in confidence if you have a story to tell." Do you have a pretty stuffed inbox right now with content? Do you have your next project already picked out?
Not yet. So if anyone does have a particularly crazy story they would like to share and that they think needs to be heard by the world, then they should absolutely get in touch. We're always looking for our next story, and the bar is very high when it comes to these true crime stories now. But, you know, where we kind of pitch ourselves is we always ask ourselves, why are we telling this story?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is the takeaway? What is the bigger kind of societal learning from this particular crime? So rather than just telling crime stories for the sake of it or for titillation, we really like to to find stories that speak to bigger societal issues that we all need to be aware of.
Man,
So that's kind of what we're looking for. Those thrilling stories that kind of, you couldn't make it up type stories, but where we all leave thinking a little differently about things.
Sure. That's fantastic. Bernadette Higgins is easy to find on Instagram. If you got a story, hit her up. American Nightmare hits Netflix today, and I imagine this will be compelling, and I wish you all the best. I hope it's as big as Tinder Swindler. And anytime you ever have a project, you are welcome on this show. We're big fans of the work. Well, let's see. I need to take that reference. We'll never forget. How about that? We'll never forget that you called in the show today. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
All right. Cheers. Yeah, by the way, I will full on be watching that today. And I have to because I know my wife will watch it and she'll want to discuss it. So I don't have a choice. It's her birthday on top of everything else. So I would have to watch it anyway, but because it's Rosemary's birthday and because the show debuts on her birthday and because we were so obsessed with the Tinder Swindler, I'll be all over American Nightmare.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I remember the story very well. And the media, along with the police departments initially, now it turned out there was a sergeant, a police officer in this case later that did the diligent work and was able to get to the bottom of this story.
Oh, I don't see this not jumping out at me. I if I Google it, I'll probably remember. But I don't want any spoilers because I do want to watch it. But that's great. So you actually know what this is about.
I remember commenting on it and thinking this is a little bit too unreal to believe. It's got to be fabricated. It sounded. I mean, intruders dressed in scuba suits breaking into your Northern California home. In the middle of the night, and then and kidnap your girlfriend, and you don't call the cops till 2:00 the next afternoon.
I missed that.
So bizarre.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't. That doesn't ring any bells. This is perfect for me.
Yeah. No, all right. I won't say any more, but yeah, just set it up a little bit of how crazy and unbelievable it is. I think I'll watch it because it's a story that can only happen once. I mean, there can never be a crime quite like this one again. And then, of course, I'm sure it will drive everyone crazy as it did after this thing had kind of come to fruition and you heard about it sort of as a page 4 kind of thing. Like, wait, what? She was kidnapped. Wait, hold on. And you try to put it together and you go back to the hubris initially of the police investigators, because the media, we would sit there and go, this is too crazy. This didn't happen. Boyfriend did it. It's always the frickin' boyfriend, isn't it?
Sure.
But you expect a bit more from your police department. They can't jump to those conclusions that us goofballs in the media can jump to. But one police officer did not. And I'm sure that police officer will be featured, prominently in this docuseries. So looking forward to it myself.
There was one truffle sniffing hog in the force who wouldn't let go of the scent, is what you're telling me.
Hey, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I had to work in a cop pig reference there somehow. Right. God bless him. That's awesome, man. I'm very excited about it. And by the way, if you're going to put a documentary up and you're going to call it American Nightmare, I'm going to take a look. I'm sorry. Like that's going to the, no, there's a lot of American Nightmares. This is the American Nightmare.
Unbelievable.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, still, I know how it ends, and I still think to myself, unbelievable. One crime like this.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, that's my afternoon spoken for. Great.
Soup and murder.
Soup, kidnapping, scuba gear? What are you kidding?
Great.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
This was in Nashville a few years ago. Early in the pandemic, the radio building I was operating out of for my syndicated show, like all radio buildings, was closed down. No access. It's done. Go home and do your show from there. But I had access to the lot, which was 5 acres in a giant fenced-in lot downtown Nashville, and I would go there with my dogs. I had a private dog yard. It was great. Bring the tennis balls. My son would go shoot hoops on the hoop. I'd throw the balls with the dogs. Everybody was having a good time. Well, one of the days I was there, I went into the building to just take a leak. I just had to go. I walk in the building. Only person been in there for weeks. Go to the bathroom. I urinate. I flush. I leave. The next day.
Didn't wash your hands?
The next day, I'm not sure. probably did. The next day, or maybe it was 2 days later, but within 2 days, I'm back at the station doing it again, and I see an email come into my work email. And it literally says, I saw you in the building, and I got video. I know you masturbated.
Oh.
You have an hour to respond.
Oh, God.
And
you have an hour?
And I literally looked at that, and I was like, okay, first of all, that didn't happen. Or did it? I have to think, wait. I didn't. There's no way I went in there and did that. And I was like, but still, I was like, wait a minute. They could have doctored a video, or it's just me at a urinal, and they'll say that. But either way, the best case scenario is this is going to be embarrassing that someone at the network's going to get this. And then I'm like, hey, wait, hold on, stop, hold on. No one's they don't have hidden cameras. And then like literally as I'm thinking about this, my producer of that show calls me, Sarah. She goes, hey, so I said, stop, hang on. I just got the weirdest email, and it must be one of those phishing emails, like a blackmail thing. And she literally says, is it about you masturbating? And I go,
everybody knows already, Steve.
Wait, what? She goes, I just got that same email like an hour ago. And I go, well, have you been here? She goes, what? No. I go, oh, well, I was in the building yesterday. She goes, oh my God, that's hilarious. No, it's just, I don't know what that is, but I forwarded it to IT and they said, don't worry about it.
Is there something wrong with masturbating at work?
Well, if you get caught on video during a pandemic, clearly. No, but it was so bizarre. And I grew up in a house where you were guilty until proven otherwise.
Right.
And you're probably still guilty. So when I'm accused of things that I clearly had nothing to do with, my central nervous system still flags, oh no, I'm busted.
Right.
Even though I'm not trying to be funny. That's an issue I still contend with. Like when something goes haywire, when whatever project you're involved in, when it doesn't quite pull up short, I assume everyone's going to blame me because I always got. So this was like, oh my God, what does this mean? What's happening?
I do like for a hot second, though, you had to think about it. Wait, did I? Right. No.
I won't do it again.
I would have remembered that, I think was your quote. I would have remembered that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, you live and you learn. Yeah, that was a rough one.
You do live and learn. Long passwords and don't overshare. Don't get online at coffee shops. That's our advice for you today. There you go. Right. And of course, keep the masturbating to yourself.
Yeah.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Looking like another album in the works for Chad Daniels. He's with us in the studio along with our buddy Nate Absher, and they're both with us in the studio. Gentlemen, what's up?
Hi there.
Fellas.
Chad, we know Nate's a sullen sort of, just killjoy, but you seem like a pretty upbeat, fun, happy guy. How's things for you so far today?
Things are great. When Nate and I are in the same room, it's an average of 0. Because I love to bring the joy and the love. And then, of course, Nate about he's got half and half coffee and cream.
Yep.
A real bummer. It's like, ooh, I want a phlegmy throat later. Cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a man who's perennially shooting for the ceiling. You know what I mean?
Just unbelievable.
There's a limit to how limitless he feels. I kid Nate. We love Nate at the KQ Morning Show.
And despite my personality, and I appreciate that.
No, it's great. It's great. And you getting a chance to be with Chad, it's almost like a Make-A-Wish joke writing itself right here.
It's like hanging out with a 3-legged dog. You just go, there's a bad attitude, but he's cute.
Yeah, sure.
You just want to put him in a wagon and drag him around.
Yeah, but don't corner him. Don't corner the 3-legged dog.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because he can't run away.
That's very, very, very true.
All right, I want to say something true quickly. Nate is so funny and one of the best in the scene, and I just am so excited to have him.
Aww.
Is that true, Nate?
No.
Yeah.
Well, he's never going to say that. You know him.
Well, Chad was reading that off a Post-it note, so that was weird.
Candace slipped it to him when he came in. We had Chad Nate in a couple of times before I went down to Acme and caught one of his shows, and actually did that. He's such a nice guy. He's, he just kind of rolls with it, and then you go down and you see his show, and I'm like, God dang, he's funny as hell. I had no idea. Sorry, Nate. Not that you're not in person, but you downplay it a little bit. You hold back on us, but he does not on stage.
Yeah. I mean, most singers don't enter a room in mid-tune. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I can totally get that. Chad, you have 8 albums to date, and now you're going for number 9 at this show again, March 2nd, at the Fitzgerald Theater. Is it as simple as this? You make a new record when you figure out you have enough material, or do you set what comes first? Hey, I've got enough material, or maybe by next March, I better be ready. And then, what's the chicken and the egg situation here with this?
Well, sometimes it's a little bit of both. Sometimes it's, I have enough material. And then other times it's like, hey, I'm always in Minneapolis, St. Paul, March, the first weekend of March at Acme. I would like to try to do something a little bigger. So I'm going to go to the Fitzgerald March 2nd for 2 shows to record a special. And, I have 5 shows left to figure out the first 20 minutes. So let's go. Let's go. We can figure this out.
Don't you get too big for your britches, young man.
Too late.
Yeah, too late for that. So you're a Minnesota guy. Your whole life you have lived in Minnesota.
That's true.
And so it's clearly working for you.
I mean, I like it here. I wouldn't. I won't move anywhere else. I had to talk a woman into moving here from Washington State, which is very beautiful. But I was like, well, I don't know.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah. Hey, the airport, you can get anywhere, almost direct flight to anywhere.
Yeah. It's the funny thing about airports. You've been touring, you're a couple decades in, though. Have you ever been anywhere where you literally thought, oh, wait, I could live here and maybe I should think about it? Or has this just never even been on the table to go somewhere else, even for a little while?
I mean, I'm one of those guys where the grass is always greener. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, I should live here. And then I get back home and I'm like, wow, never mind.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that. He's a nice guy. He's a nice local boy, Chad Daniels.
Yeah, I lived in Fergus Falls forever and ever and ever. And then
Fergus!
My daughter, you're the one.
I've never heard someone say Fergus. Woo!
It's the Ottertail County?
It is great.
Some good friends up there. Yeah.
It's Lakes Country, and it's
Good,
absolutely
duck
beautiful.
hunting.
Yeah. But I moved down to Minneapolis last year, and love it here as well because, restaurants are open after 7 and stuff, so that's nice.
Oh, yeah, we know you're a lover of pancakes.
I sure love pancakes.
Oh, aren't they the best?
Yeah, they sure
are. It's hard to go wrong, really, with a pancake.
I've never had a bad pancake. That's true.
Huh.
I feel like I should make your pancakes.
You've never had my mom's pancakes.
Chad, we were talking earlier today about weird food you grow up eating and you don't know it's weird till you get out and someone looks at you and goes, why the hell are you eating that?
Sure.
Or in my family's case, it wasn't so much the food, but it was just the fact that it was nothing but milk. I didn't have water till I was 20. It was just every meal, no matter what was on the table, a large tumbler of milk, a whole milk, was placed next to me, and I didn't know that was odd. Anything come to mind in your life at a time? The way you were raised, the good people who raised you. Was there anything a little off when you look back?
Sure, yeah. First of all, I'd like to address Nate saying I've never had his mom's pancakes. I sure have.
I haven't.
Now, is that it? Now, I'm sorry, but let's just be clear. Is this a euphemism, or you've literally been in the home for breakfast? I'm just curious.
I've woken up there several times. Now,
beautiful. Beautiful.
You had milk all the time. My family went through a phase where we had powdered milk, which I don't know if you know what that is, but you're better off just pouring water in your cereal. It's so gross. But
just
I think
was that a cost-cutting measure?
That was a cost-cutting measure. It was if you're not going to drink all the milk and it goes bad, then we're just going to get powdered milk. And then that's for sure what we did. Which I just ate cereal with water.
That's gonna make you. Well, nothing makes you appreciate real milk, I guess, more than a few weeks with powdered milk.
How would you know? You didn't have water till you were 20.
That's right.
Because you're hoarding all the milk. I had to have cereal with water.
Man.
Do you know lefse? You heard of lefse?
I've heard. I'm familiar with it.
It's like a potato tortilla.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think that was probably something that I bring to Thanksgiving to people outside of Minnesota, and they look at me like I'm crazy because you put butter and sugar on it,
right?
Which is a little strange.
Well,
and a lot of people hate it. I love it.
I had some in December, a holiday meal that a few of the people on this very show may or may not have attended as well. And there was no sugar, but I was excited to finally have it. And I took a bite, and then I just went, huh.
Yeah.
That's different.
You got to have sugar on it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think I was steered wrong then. Or if someone recommended sugar, I ignored it or didn't hear it. But
I'm cool with just butter, man. Just a simple.
I didn't want to point. I didn't want to point fingers at who steered me wrong.
Not?
But
why are you guys hating on me?
Because it's like leaving mashed potatoes out for a week and then scooping the top layer off. That's why.
I'm disgusting.
There's some sugar on that stuff. Yeah, you are.
Wow, this took a turn.
I'm throwing haymakers. I came in with no coffee today.
Oh, attaboy.
Nate brings a coffee for himself. Wow.
Yeah, there's a real jerk.
Nate brought half a coffee for himself. The other half's cream.
It's half and
reminding me of. Oh, I thought. Okay.
It's called a breve. It's a very nice.
Shut up.
That stuff.
Is there sugar in it?
No. Nate, I got to ask. Where you grew up down south? I mean, there had to be some bizarre culinary experiences in your childhood.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my family, I'm a big fan of all of the proteins, like alligator. One of my favorite meals is cow tongue.
God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Candace, easy. He's our guest.
But,
I mean, have you tried the rest of the cow?
What's that?
Have you tried the rest of the cow?
Yes.
I mean, there's so much good meat on a cow, but you're going for the tongue.
So there's a tradition down south. We had cattle, and it's called the debris, which is all of you eat all the organ meat when you butcher a cow.
It's Creole for prank the tourist.
It's spelled exactly.
I feel like it is a setup.
It's spelled exactly the same as debris, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because that's what it is.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Cow debris,
man. So Nate, oddly enough, will be catering this gig. Chad, you've got kids. How many and what ages?
I have 2 children. My son is 24, and he's getting married the week after the Fitzgerald gig in Mexico.
He just wanted to make sure the gig went okay before he committed.
I told him, don't you dare.
Right.
Don't you dare mess this up for me with your stupid love.
This is a big day for me.
Yeah. I mean, 24, this isn't going to last, but this album is.
That's right.
This album's forever.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
And then I have a daughter who is 19 that goes to school in Southern California. She's a sophomore out there.
Oh, wow. SoCal kid.
Yeah. She decided it's time to leave the winters, even though this winter's been great, but she's out there and surfs and does all that stuff.
It looks like the never leaving Minnesota thing isn't hereditary.
Yeah, she was like, oh, it's my 18th birthday. Bye.
It's pretty great. And are your kids just naturally, do they have the gift of gab? Are they funny?
I think they are. My son is so dry. I've said this before, but my son is so dry where it's like he'll tell a joke, but you don't really know it's a joke, so you're excited when you wake up alive. And then my daughter is as quick as can be. I probably shouldn't tell the story. I don't care. I have to tell her.
She's not listening. I hate to break it to you.
Well, I know that, but I mean, I'm just going to do it. So
I love the idea of a college student in California waking up at 7:30 Pacific and telling her roommate, "Sorry, I've just got to listen to my dad on the radio. Just I'll put on the headphones."
So she's out in California, and she goes to this. It's a private school, so there's a lot of rich kids because it's in Orange County. And there's one rich girl that is a brat, but also not attractive. So, her eyes are kind of where the temples are on a normal face.
Sure.
And so
fetal alcohol syndrome, I believe that's called.
I'm not exactly sure what that is. But she stepped in between my daughter and her boyfriend to cut off the conversation to talk to my daughter's boyfriend. And so my daughter goes, hey, what's going on here? And the girl goes, can you be quiet? And my daughter said, I don't know. Can you change colors?
Wow.
One of the greatest chameleon jokes of all time. And
then her eyes start darting in different directions.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the last chameleon joke I've ever heard. That's
It's a lost art.
That's batting 1,000.
And just then a bird flew by and she ate it with her tongue.
I almost, my eyeballs almost popped out of my head because I was trying not to laugh, but it was halfway out already because I didn't want to pile on to this kid. But when I went outside, oh my God, it was over.
Oh, that is tremendous. I mean, I can't imagine the pride that coursed through your veins as those words came out. That's
that was the quickest thing I'd heard in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I don't know if she's in a relationship, but if she is or is someday, whoever is in a relationship with your daughter is either going to have to be super sharp or very dull. No in between. You're going to be like, yes, dear, not get that she's constantly, put them down, or someone that can trade jabs with her. But,
absolutely. Yeah, and that whole story's about her boyfriend, so thanks for listening.
Yeah. You're either a sparring partner or just the heavy bag, one or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That is absolutely. I will remember that. I will retell that off air to people for years, and I will footnote the people involved. I won't take credit for it myself.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's a good one. I can't tell it on stage because I don't think she wants people knowing that she's a brat. But
yeah, that's fantastic. An awful lot of comedians, as you well know, also are play music or love music, and I know a lot of musicians that saw maybe thinking about comedy at some point. Was there ever a musical inclination with you?
Absolutely, yeah. I used to play guitar and sing with a buddy at coffee shops in college and, stuff like that. But that was because I didn't want to deal with a puppy, and it was the only other way to have girls look.
Yeah. Well, it's not too late to start a band. I mean, we come up with band names all the time here on the show. Today, Go Rouge was one of our big band names we're thinking of. So, it's if you're looking for... If you're just looking to get all of your frustration out at someone else, start a band. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, I think I would. I think I'd like to play something. I'd just like to be like the maracas guy or something, though.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, no pressure. The fact is, nobody knows if the maracas guy is doing anything right or wrong. No one cares.
That's exactly why. I don't want judgment. I'm so sick of judgment. In my new career, I just want people to not know what's happening.
The maracas guy is like the hype man.
That's exactly what he is. Yeah.
There's something that looks like a maraca, but it's got the metal beads on the outside of it. I think it's called it's not a kielbasis or something. I understand that's not it, but it's something like that.
Sure.
And I blacked out in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Right.
And
Who hasn't?
I know. Yeah. I woke up with a black and blue thigh and had to call the guy that was opening the shows and be like, number one, do you know where my car is? Number two, do you know what happened to my leg? And he goes, you jumped up with the band last night and you were banging that thing with the beads on the outside on your leg for like 10 songs in a row. So I guess, I've already started my career.
That's fantastic.
I'd love to remember it this time.
A lot of people come to the crossroads in La Crosse. Do I stay lucid or do I just go for it? And most of them go for it. They're like, nah, I can't take another minute of this.
I think that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, sure. So high school kid, who is your band? What kind of music were you into?
We listened to, that's right, when Nirvana, Nevermind came out. And
kind of a big record.
Yeah, a little bit. And Pearl Jam 10, that kind of stuff.
First concert you saw, what was it?
First concert was it was Bush and No Doubt and the Goo Goo Dolls at the Fargo Dome.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I vomited that concert. My thing, I used to drink, I'd take a a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and dump some of it out, and then I'd pour a pint of strawberry schnapps in that.
Oh my God.
And then I would take shots off the bottle of Bacardi Limon and chase it with that other concoction.
You're a monster.
I know.
Wow.
And so I'm like 4 rows back from the gates, from the front of the stage at this concert, and I start tapping people on the shoulder. I go, hey, I have to puke. Just let me go up by the gates. I'll puke and come back here. And they're like, nice try, nerd. And I'm like, well, here we go. And Strawberry Schnapps led the show. It was bright.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Chad, how do you like your lefse? Oh, with Mountain Dew and strawberry schnapps.
Wow.
Yeah, so they kicked me out of the Fargo Dome, and then I walked about 50 feet, and there was a door that was propped open, so I went in there and snuck back into the Fargo Dome and watched the rest of the concert.
Notoriously bad security at the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, clearly.
Somebody just lost a job 30 years later.
Good Lord.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.